The views and opinions expressed in this show do not represent those of Cal State Fullerton, the College of Health and Human Development, or the Kinesiology program.
Ready, aim, fire.
Welcome to Kinesiology 101, the podcast for kinesiology majors by kinesiology majors. Every week we bring you a new and exciting guest with tons of knowledge and experience both in and outside of the classroom here at Cal State Fullerton.
It never happened. It never happened.
Alright. And we are back here at Kinesiology 101. I am your host, Luis.
I'm Jose.
And today we have with us Peter Pham.
Hi.
Alright, so Peter is a Cal State Fullerton alumni.
Yes.
He is a competitive powerlifter.
Yes, correct.
And I'll just let you kind of tell us a little bit more about you.
Sure. So I'm, like you said, a competitive powerlifter. I compete in raw powerlifting, which means you don't use any supportive kind of gear.
Mm-hmm.
You do use a belt and knee sleeves and wrist wraps. I'm also a kinesiology student here. I just finished my undergraduate, but I'm going back to graduate school here as well.
Nice.
So I'll be focusing on strength and conditioning, but I'm very interested in biomechanics and exercise physiology.
You would love Dr. Lin's class. I think I tell
Oh, yeah.
you every time I see
I
you,
might take
tell
it
you,
this
right?
summer.
Yeah, dude. It's an awesome class.
I'm signing up next week.
Nice.
Most likely.
Where did you say you were from? Like, what high school did you go to?
I went
Sports
to-
that you played?
Yeah, I went to La Quinta High School. So back in high school, I was actually a cheer athlete, or you can say cheerleader. I prefer cheer athlete. So I did 2
Sounds
years.
more
of-
masculine.
Yeah, it's so masculine. I can see why.
yeah, exactly. 2 years of cheerleading in varsity, my junior and senior year. My first year, I was the only guy on the team, which inspired me to lift, because if I was the only guy, I didn't want to look like a pussy. So I wanted to have a little something masculine, something to rep for. So I started lifting, and sooner or later, I got into bodybuilding. I did one show as a bodybuilder, as a teen, and I transitioned over to powerlifting, and I love powerlifting so much more.
I feel like since you mentioned bodybuilding, we just have to bring it up. There is this very, very popular video on YouTube with Peter in it. It has, it has
that's
close,
right.
It has close to like
I
a
have seen
transformation.
it. Yeah. I think you showed us, right?
No, he didn't show us, but he kind of briefly told us about it, and then I went ahead, did some research.
Yeah, and
I saw his videos on his YouTube channel.
I saw it
It's
too.
legit, dude. It's legit.
Thanks.
It's like a 2 year.
Did you read the comments, all the haters?
Dude, you have like so many freaking followers.
I didn't even bother to do that, dude, because I was so into your message. And then another thing too is like the editing was nice, dude. The music, the transitions.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I
You
do
gotta
all
do
the
our
editing,
stuff.
because we're
No, I'm kidding.
We're looking for
no,
interns.
seriously though, for videos.
We're looking for an intern.
Yeah, hell yeah, paid
Oh my
though,
God.
paid.
Paid intern.
No, in general though, back to what I was saying,
Okay.
your YouTube channel is, I don't know if it's still ongoing, but the videos that you had there, it was pretty. It's a nice journey. It's
Thank
a nice
you.
journey for anybody to follow. Then you taking them to, I think it was Costco.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I saw it.
You watch a lot of videos.
I was watching yours though, because I mean
Yeah.
they're really talking about how you're doing how you plan your foods, and then you have like a board and you talk about how you're training.
Oh
this
shit,
way.
the 30-minute lecture on macronutrients.
Yeah, dude, I had to take notes for that one. But just your transformation, I think, is the most popular one you have there, and it's very, very inspiring because I mean I know you, but I didn't know the
Thank
former
you,
you.
man.
So we're definitely gonna have to post a link up to that because I think it's very
We
strong.
see Peter at
Kind of embarrassing though, like my bodybuilding days. I don't know.
Dude,
Don't show my powerlifting friends.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, holy shit, is that Peter? Like, you see, we know the Peter, the 153 pound
I'm
Peter.
like 160, 165.
No, yeah, but the
I was 130 pounds at one time when I was really lean.
But like we see the Peter today that can like back squat like 480 something pounds and deadlift over 500 pounds, and we haven't give us the specific numbers. But when I saw that video, it was like, a puny little
Yeah.
Peter, like
Struggling with two
that's
plates.
crazy,
Yeah.
dude.
The first few pictures.
Actually, first semester here, when I tried my 1 rep max, it was 275 pounds.
I think I
on a
had you.
squat.
I think I had it for a class.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was I forgot what his name was. He was a grad student. It was that resistance exercise class 1946.
Ricardo.
That's when I held a. I'm gonna flatter myself here. When I held a plank for like 11 minutes. Remember that?
Oh, dude,
That was me.
Wait, were you the winner?
Yeah, that's remember the football player that was like trying to be.
Yeah, you
like,
want to talk about that?
Yeah.
I don't know if we should though, because
It's not my podcast. So I'll say that for my podcast.
Dude,
you know what I'm talking about,
dude,
right?
we still talk about that shit, man. It's so funny.
You and your friends.
Well, yeah, he's just so competitive.
Yeah.
God.
Did he come here? I know we're kind of sidetracking a little bit.
Yeah.
It's all-
Go for it, dude. Go for it.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't want to mention any names.
No, yeah.
I
but
didn't
anyway,
get him known, so let's
that's
just.
that's where I met Peter. I remember him putting like 2 plates. For me, it's like at that time I was like what? I was taking Kinesiology 2 at the time, so I was years ago, 3 years at least.
It's probably still a lot for you, no?
Yeah. I think I've improved, but I mean to me it was like that's a lot.
Yeah.
And I could see kind of Peter. Yeah, he had good movement or not. He was able to complete the reps, but I saw he was struggling. But from 2 plates to like 3.5, 4 plates now, it's like it's a big major.
No, I think you also have videos too where it's like in front of a crowd, it's an actual competition, but it's like very.
A powerlifting meet.
It might have been, but there were so many people. You know, it felt like there was like inside of a cage sort of thing, and then. Dude, I mean, just the look in your face, it's like, wow.
It's crazy. We'll post a video on, a picture on, like your veins are popping out. I'm sure it's very, you're lifting. I mean, it's technically a sport of 1 RMs. It's basically
Exactly.
what it is, right?
That's what powerlifting is.
Nice.
Yeah. So then when you start off the episode with hi,
Right?
it's like I'm not expecting that, dude.
Yeah. So, Peter, so why don't you tell us a little bit of how you got into the sport of powerlifting and so what was your first experience and how you got into it?
Okay, so like I already said, I did 1 show in bodybuilding, so I was tracking my macronutrients, getting very lean. I got down to 130 pounds, and that was okay and all, but what really happened was I was training under the team 3D Muscle Journey. One of my teammates, Bryce Lewis, introduced himself to us, and he was the first guy who I saw squat 4 or 5 plates deep as to grass, and that really inspired me. He was already a pretty well-known powerlifter, so also during that time I was interested in transitioning over. So the idea was during my bodybuilding off season I was gonna do powerlifting and compete later on in 2015, which is now, but screw that shit. It's so much better being a powerlifter, in my opinion. So I met a team OC Strength, and these guys are very experienced. They're men who have been lifting for as long as I'm alive, you know. So they compete in both raw and in geared powerlifting. Geared powerlifting includes things such as a squat suit, a deadlift suit, and a bench shirt. But I also compete raw, or I only compete raw, and they don't really force me to do geared because it's an entirely different sport and we have respect for each other regardless of equipment. But they're the ones who taught me to really be precise and meticulous about my movements, because powerlifting is not simply lifting weights, it's also a sport in itself. So I got better with lifting, and up to this day I've competed in 5 competitions so far. And I have not bombed out once. Bombing out means you are disqualified because you did not complete at least 1 successful attempt for each of the 3 lifts, which are squat, bench, and deadlift.
Nice. Cool. So we're talking about powerlifting and about you. Why don't you give us your numbers, your best numbers, and your weight at those numbers, at those lifts.
All right. Well, I compete in the 148-pound class, but when I'm actually training, I'm actually around 160 pounds. And how I achieve that is I do a water manipulation method. I superhydrate myself, and then about 24 hours out from weigh-ins, I start to dehydrate myself pretty much and limit myself to how much food I actually eat how much water I'm drinking, and that helps me lose those extra pounds. As far as training personal records go, training PRs, my best squat is 475 pounds. My best bench is about 265 pounds, which is not much. My best deadlift is 540 pounds. So you could say I did those around 155 to 160 pounds. As far as training PRs go, meet PRs, I hit a 440 squat at my last meet, 245 bench, and about 520 deadlift. So
insane.
Still not where I want to be yet.
But still, I mean, if you look at Peter, he does not look like he could back squat, bench, and deadlift that.
Thanks. So you're saying I'm small.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
And that's where the whole like exercise physiology comes, as like the different training has different adaptations, which we've learned and have been drilled to us over the years, right?
Yes.
Like you could be a smaller guy and be so much stronger than a bodybuilder. It's just the way you exercise and you apply those adaptations.
Yep.
Yeah, I squatted yesterday. I don't want to talk about it. After hearing those numbers, that
is insane.
It's all good, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. This guy is just ridiculously strong.
But I feel like they have to be on something, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's like supplements. Yeah, okay, they might help like an endurance athlete in some sense, but what part do they play as far as sports like powerlifting?
Okay. Well, are you talking about legal supplements? Or
Let's go with supplements that are available to the general population. They're over the counter, I guess. GNC supplements.
As we learned in class, supplements that are legitimate, ones that have been researched and have some credibility, are creatine, which is the phosphate system. There's caffeine, which is a stimulant, of course. There's beta-alanine, and then a few others. And of course, the best way to fuel yourself is to eat simply food. As far as illegal supplements, I'm not on any drugs, even though many people believe I am, which is all good. It's
on that YouTube video, it's like more than 80% of those comments are like, he's on roids.
Accusing me, but it's all good. People just don't realize what they're capable of until they actually reach that. Yeah. So those are probably the more inexperienced guys.
So since we're talking about supplements, what are you on?
Well, right now I'm just taking creatine and test and D-ball. Yeah. Cool. No, not really. Yeah. Test is testosterone and D-ball is diambol. But just bodybuilding. No, powerlifter, Joe.
Yeah.
Because I have friends who do take it, but they're not bad people. It's just.
Oh, we didn't say they were.
Yeah. Yeah.
But do you feel like, because you have the experience with bodybuilding too, that's how you kind of started off. You kind of saw what goes on behind the scenes, you know. So would you say, just in general, steroids or those kind of legal substances, powerlifting, bodybuilding, they're there?
Yeah, of course.
Is that like part of the culture kind of?
Yeah, for sure. It's not just our sports. It's our sports, the strength sports, and physique sports that people think are the only sports using these drugs, but it's involved in every sport. You like we know cyclists out there who use it, or EPO or something like that, or just blood doping in general.
What are you trying to say? That I'm on something, dude? No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, so it's, I guess, partly culture.
So
yeah, but it's just gonna be the individual who decides to use it or not. I don't use it yet. I mean, I can't say for sure I'll always be natty for life, but then you gotta think about priorities. If I use it now, I gotta prioritize my training even more, and I have so many other things going on. I have a business starting up with Iron Empire, my strength training facility. I have school, grad school, you know, so there's so many priorities, and just having another factor in there not only makes you have to prioritize training more, but like I said, it's another variable you have to consider. And programming, nutrition, all those things, that's already so much to try and take care of by itself, you know?
Yeah, so those are all topics we're probably going to eventually dive into. But back to powerlifting though, I mean, I'm wondering, did you start off with like a coach who kind of guided you through the sport, or did you kind of just say, "Oh, I'm already lifting weights. Let me just see how much more I can add," and then read like an article or some research about how to progress? How did you go about progressing in that sense?
Yeah, so my coach Jeff Alberts from 3DMJ, he put me on a strength program, which is pretty similar to 531 program. That program's by Jim Wendler, and I started off with that. I stayed on that program even after I was done finishing with him, my coach. I stuck to that program, and I actually got through 18 cycles of it. So that's about 1.5 months or 18 months. And then every semester, the more you learn, the more you talk with people, you learn more about programming. So I eventually started programming for myself, which is what I do now. I don't work with any coach now, even though I have many friends who are coaches and I am a coach myself. We feed off of each other, but most of my programming, or all of it, is made completely by myself. Yeah.
And was that the same thing with bodybuilding too?
No, not bodybuilding. Bodybuilding, I used to do like bro science things. Like a specific muscle a day. Don't train it twice within 48 hours, things like that. But once you get into powerlifting, it's a different perspective. You see it as a sport, not just getting bigger.
There's more structure.
Yeah, there's so much more structure.
So you mentioned 531. So what exactly is 531?
531 is a strength program. So it has a 4-week cycle pretty much. So the first week is gonna be 3 sets of 5, working up to 85%. The second week will be 3 sets of 3, working up to 90%. And the last week, the third week, is the heaviest week, which would be a set of 5 at 75%, a set of 3 at 85%, and a set of 1 at 95%. So this is percentage of 1 rep max, how much you can be expected to do in 1 repetition. But you're never actually going for a full 100% 1 rep max. You just always build. Every 4 weeks you're gonna add on to it. Oh yeah, and the 4th week is a deload.
Okay, I think that's how you programmed the jiu-jitsu macrocycle, right?
Yeah, similar.
You sent me your macrocycle, I was looking over it. It kind of looked like...
for Kines 450 program
450.
design.
Yeah. So then that training program is not specific to just powerlifters. It could be a little bit more individualized to a different sport.
Of course, because strong is strong. Powerlifting is a sport of strength, but then strength applies to every sport.
Right, yeah.
Almost every sport.
So you can use it in a block for any kind of athlete that's trying to get stronger, for example. But for somebody like powerlifting, you just focus more on that. Whereas a different athlete like basketball, soccer, football, they would kind of cycle out of that or not focus too much into that when they get to a different block such as power.
Yeah,
or,
it's actually easier as a powerlifter because your main goal and only goal is strength.
Yeah, exactly.
There are so many other factors, so many other stimuli that you have to consider when you're coaching for something like CrossFit. You know, there's so many events in CrossFit that just makes it very hard to point a finger at one specific thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and you mentioned the bench press. That's not your strongest
suit. Not my territory.
But is that something that you try to focus more on for the upcoming meets, or is that just something that you say, you know what, I don't even care. Let's just see what I post.
I'm just gonna try to get my points to the back squat and the deadlift, or is that what you kind of push aside? Or
well, I still have equal attention to all 3 lifts, and my bench press is improving. But if I had to pick whether I was stronger upper body as a bench press or stronger lower body as a squat and deadlifter, the latter, squat and deadlifts, would add more to the total because you add 2 lifts to that total, not just 1. So having my disadvantage is not as bad as being a really bad squatter and deadlifter. So, yeah.
What's your favorite of the 3?
I would say squat, even though it's kind of shit right now. But it's not bad. Yeah. I have good weeks or months and then bad weeks or months.
Yeah. I'm sure it depends on the day too. I mean, how are you feeling?
Oh,
your
yeah.
sleep. It's a lot that goes into it. I'm
For sure. Yep.
So just like before you kind of finish the topic of powerlifting, can you just guide us through like what a day during the meet looks like?
Okay.
When you get there, you maybe, I don't know, weigh in and then you
Yes.
start with the
You
first.
try to drop weight before for somebody like you specifically. Or
So there are two ways I can talk about this. I can talk about this as an athlete and then about it as a coach. So I'll talk about as an athlete first. It depends which federation you're doing for weigh-ins. If you do USPA, then your weigh-ins would be 24 hours out from the actual meet.
okay.
And with this, it gives you some leeway to cut weight, pretty much as much weight as you can through water manipulation and dehydration and all that, and gain it back within those 24 hours. So that gives you a great advantage. Whereas something like USAPL, their weigh-ins are 2 hours prior to the competition. So you don't have that much leeway to work with, you know. You compete at your true weight. So you weigh in, and we like to go eat all-you-can-eat sushi or something all-you-can-eat. We're pretty much stuffing ourselves all day. That's pretty fun. I'll say that's like one of the funnest parts of powerlifting. If you're doing that route. On meet day, there will be 3 lifts. First is a squat. You get 3 attempts. You gotta break at least parallel. So that means your hip has to be below the top surface of your knee for it to count. You also have bench press as your second lift. You have to pause it on your chest until you get the press command by the ref. And then there's also the deadlift, which is the last lift. For that one, you pretty much pull as much as you can. And with all 3 lifts, you have to be able to perform it with one persistent bar path. So if, for example, you're squatting, it goes up halfway, you can't drop, and you save yourself and finish the rep, that still does not count because it's not a persistent bar path. So there's some strict guidelines to meet. That's why you can't just say you can lift this much at a meet based on how much you do in training. It's two different contexts.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. How much time in between do you have between each?
It depends how big that meet is. It depends how many flights there are. So if there are 3 flights, flight A, B, and C, and you're flight A, you do your lift first, and then flight B goes. Flight B is when you have that time to just kind of relax and maybe eat a little something. Flight C is the one before it returns to flight A. So you would already be warming up on flight C as they go up. So it just really depends how many people are competing at a meet.
Sounds
Cool.
tiring.
Usually hours though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice. So let's dive in.
Oh, sorry. Forgot to explain it as a coach.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so not a lot of people realize this. Even though powerlifting is individualized, it's somewhat considered an individual sport. There is a lot that can be done as a team or as a coach. And from my perspective as a coach, especially from this past meet, I was handling people, which means assisting people, assisting my athletes. So I would say there are 4 positions for you. The main one is obviously coaching. You're with the athlete the entire time. You're seeing what their attempts look like and giving them some feedback on how much they should do for their next attempt. There is a person who would film for you, because if the coach is too busy trying to coach and all that, you would need someone on the side to film for you. And that's great because even when I did more of cheer and tumbling and all that, I always refer back to my videos to see how well I did the movement, and that totally applies to powerlifting as well. We also have people who are in the warm-up areas. Those people are gonna be the ones who load and spot the lifter, because ideally you want the lifter to be focused on just the lifting. You want them to save energy, not like wasting their energy loading up plates on and so on. And then there's a communicator who goes back and forth between the warm-up area and the competition area, because you really have to time yourself and you time your attempts, or sorry, your warm-ups. You don't want to finish warming up too early. So you need someone to always remind you where are you in that flight, or how far away is your next lift going to be. So Yeah, there's a lot of strategy involved.
Yeah,
in
it sounds like there is.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we were talking earlier this week, and you were telling me about your upcoming meet, right? So which was this past weekend? Was that one that you coached in, or one that you participated in?
Yeah, so I coached in that one. What we do is we have a team under Iron Empire, which is the facility that we're planning to open this year. We have a team, so I just invite many people to lift in my backyard, and we actually have mock meets, mock competitions, and the friends we make, they are considered our teammates pretty much. So I was at the meet, I was helping our athletes or teammates pick their numbers. I was telling them, I was pretty much doing those 4 positions that I talked about earlier. So it went pretty well. My partner Neil Dang, we qualified him for nationals, which would be our next meet in Vegas.
Awesome.
So
nice, good news. And when is this Vegas meet?
It's gonna be in July.
July. Nice. You guys are prepping for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's talk about Iron Empire.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty interesting. I mean, I see you wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
I remember also you posting on Instagram a picture of the mock meet, I think.
Yeah.
And I just see how many people turned out. A lot of them, people you probably coached.
Yeah.
It's just a big turnout, and it seems like it's kind of like community engaged.
Exactly.
How did that first come about? I mean, where did all that equipment come from?
Okay, so yeah, I was very grateful about the turnout and how many people actually came. What you saw was a group picture of our mock meet. This was actually our second one. Our first mock meet was last year, and our second mock meet was this year, a few months ago. And the whole purpose of that is to prepare beginners who have never competed before to become aware of what is required of them in a powerlifting meet. So this was their opportunity to really learn from us. We gave them feedback. We told them if they're squatting too high. We're pretty much just running a meet as it would be in a real situation. As far as Iron Empire goes, one of our main purpose is to really spread the powerlifting community. So that's what we're doing. We have many who come by, and this is all in my backyard. How we got the equipment, I purchased the bars, and my partner Neil, he finds the squat cages and all that as Craigslist equipment. And this is just the startup. This is pretty much just to get our name out there.
Yeah.
But we plan to have a facility where we will have official equipment and strength and conditioning going on. I'll be directing the strength and conditioning and also personal training, because we want to spread powerlifting to many areas. Personal training, we can apply powerlifting to pretty much a general population who wants to become more healthy.
Yeah.
We can also apply powerlifting to athletes through strength and conditioning. I like to work with athletes who come from my background, which is acrobatics, because I have experience in breaking. So I did a lot of power moves like flares, windmills. I also did tumbling, which is like round off, back handspring, backflip, double backflip onto my face and all that. Yeah, that actually happened.
I think actually touching on that subject, you did one of those right outside of the our 458 class, right?
So that's what he was absent, right?
Yeah. So you performed this stunt.
transition.
As far as I was concerned, you performed this stunt, but you never came to class. So what happened?
Yeah, so
failed.
It was like a 12-foot ledge. No,
Yeah.
I wish it was. It was more like 4 feet, but I just did a basic backflip off the ledge, and I over-rotated, which means I flipped more than I needed to, or should have, and I slammed my head on cement. So I blacked out. My friend was there. He said I had a 10-second seizure, an impact seizure, which is pretty epic. It was my second time passing out from a concussion related to flips. Which is funny. Our rehab class, therapeutic exercise class, one thing I said in my presentation is that I believe everyone should have a concussion at least once. just to experience what that's like. 'Cause
It's kinda
it's kind of
scary.
interesting, but,
Yeah, knock on wood.
but I know it
You're
was
on your own.
ironic because I ended up in the hospital my second time.
Yeah, you're on your own on that
sucks.
one, dude. I
But
might
yeah,
cry with you.
I'm good now. My programming worked out well. I recovered and I'm hitting repetition PRs now. So
Okay, so as far as your Empire companies goes, you said you want to be able to provide a strength and conditioning
Yeah.
to anybody in general, the
heck yeah.
powerlifting to your athletes and just to the general population to promote health and fitness.
yes.
And you were touching upon this the sport of tumbling, right?
Oh, tumbling.
Tumbling.
Yeah, my prior sport.
Yeah, your prior sport. Okay, so moving forward, is there anything that I know you're a kinesiology student, that you took from the classes that you found very, that you've been implementing into your program that you found very efficient, that actually made a change to your strength gains?
Because you're still coming to school, right? Even though you're not enrolled this semester.
I show up now and then just to like bug Dr. Galpin. Yeah.
So how has that kind of impacted your training at all?
Yeah. So I would say my two favorite classes, which I found the most practical information, was 450, which is program design. Pretty much we learned about programming. It touched up on many things I already knew, but then it kind of put words to it.
Yeah.
So a lot of programming is just pretty much how you organize things. We learn terms such as macro, meso, and microcycle. Those are pretty much organizational terms.
Yeah.
And then we learn about different periodization methods like linear, undulation, conjugation. And that's just how you want to organize your volume and intensity. So I learned a good amount in program design. We also did many things in biomechanics class. This was, forgot the, 461.
Yeah. 461, yeah.
Yeah, with Robert. We learned more about how to look at information, not just by looking at videos and seeing what went wrong or went well, but really putting it into a computer, quantifying things, using Excel to create charts to see where power is, where acceleration is, and all that. So it was really cool and it felt like really nerdy. So, yeah.
Nice, cool. Well, talking about the subject of academics, you're a smart guy, right?
Thanks. I just try hard.
Oh no, I was asking you. No, you're definitely a smart guy, dude. I remember you sharing with us some of the grades you got throughout your undergraduate career.
Yeah.
No, it's perfectly fine. It's actually a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, like as an athlete, you show off your PRs, you know. So
why not? Right?
Why not, as a student, show off your academic achievements? So,
So what I took from seeing you sharing that was, wow, you put in the work.
Thank you.
So I was very motivated. I still didn't study, but like I was. I was just like motivated to be in your class, knowing that you're putting in the work. What were some of the strategies or things that you did to get through those classes the way that you did?
So let's see. I can talk about concrete things and then more philosophical ideas, but well, I was very fortunate because I was in a program, Finish in 4. I think we mentioned it on some other episodes like Anthony's, but Finish in 4 gave me that priority registration. So I took full units every semester.
4 units? One
full,
class?
Full.
Oh, I said 4.
Yeah,
Okay,
so 16 or
16,
15 units every semester. I also took summer classes every summer, except my last one. And that allowed me to finish in 7 semesters.
Which is essentially 3.5 years?
3.5 years. Yeah. And that was great because it was a workload that I could handle. And I wanted to take advantage of that priority. And as far as my mindset on how to make that works, sometimes you just really have to grind. Staying up all-nighters, which is the only reason why I take pre-workout. Staying up, staying all night. Not staying all night 24/7, but having breaks in between. I also just honestly hate to be average. it really pisses me off.
I hate that too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it could be a little cocky, but I think you're okay as long as you're not an asshole to people. I don't know. Am I an asshole to you guys? I'm not condescending.
No, you're fine. You're fine, Peter.
Yeah.
You're good.
But,
you wouldn't be here if you were an asshole to us.
Yeah, you would invite me
Yeah.
on too. But yeah, I take it personally when other people beat my score. You know, it's just something that it's just my competitive side from it.
So before the podcast, we're going over a few questions. Did it piss you off that you answered some of those wrong and some of those right?
Okay, all right.
Did it piss you off?
Yeah. I mean, like, no matter how hard you study, you're gonna still be wrong at certain things.
Yeah.
I mean, I disagree with the book on.
No, I completely disagree on most of the stuff. For those of you listening, we're talking about the CSCS. We're just going over a few questions. No, there's a lot of things. Yeah, it's just very book based. It doesn't really happen in the real world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, you were saying about how you're very competitive and you get pissed off
In the classroom.
Kind of. I don't really show it. I mean, I get over it easily.
Honestly, I cannot picture you pissed off at all. You're like the nicest
You know
guy.
what helps that is sometimes I don't give a shit. That really helps. You know,
Yeah.
I like to troll a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets me hurt and in the hospital. Sometimes it gives me good laughs. You know, I had many good laughs. Like Galvin's class when I told everyone I'm on gear. That was really fun. You weren't in class, but pretty much every student had to come up and introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about ourselves.
Right.
So I was like, hi, I'm Peter. I compete in the 148 class in powerlifting. This summer, I started my first cycle of test and level. And I don't know, half the class probably didn't know what it was, but half the class had an idea, so they applied. And this Dr. Guffin was like, "Oh shoot, this is awkward." Which is really funny. Actually, one time, my final semester, last semester, first day of class, it was a random classroom, Dr. Laguna's classroom, psychology. I randomly went in there and I was like, "Hey guys, how was your summer? Are you guys ready for class?" So. I'm here to introduce myself. I'm Pierre. I'll be your instructor for the semester.
You wasn't in there.
It was so stupid.
So everybody, it was like before the class started, everybody was sitting down. Okay.
Yeah, I was just.
He's a guy.
And then.
Yeah, my friend was cracking up.
So
it's just the little things like that. What's that?
Did they like? I'm sure most people.
I'm sure
if you're a junior, senior. And you're taking that class, you would know the faculty, but I'm sure there was a few people that were still like sophomores. Was there anybody like kind of like actually taking you serious? Like, oh shit, as a professor, let me sit up tall, cross my hands, and pull up my notebook. No,
it was just too funny. I just left with my friend.
They're probably like, that's the guy that's testosterone. You know, it's funny too because that's where I think I first met you in sports psychology.
Like a year before.
Yeah, because I remember like I would sit like in the middle, kind of just like go through the whole lecture, really just take what I liked, what I really could connect with. But I remember you in the front row, just looking around, kind of befriending people, and then kind of always doing good. Because I remember you always talking about how well you did on the test. So
I did.
Yeah,
that's cocky, dude.
It's cocky, but hey,
talking. You really? I was talking about how well I did on the test.
I didn't like you, dude. Oh. No, it's all good. But it just shows a lot of confidence that you had early on too.
Thanks,
so.
man.
Yeah, I mean, if you would back it up, I mean, you've shown. I think we should say what his GPA was when he was an undergrad.
What was your GPA?
3.96.
Oh wow! So he missed like 4.4 points your whole undergrad.
The plus and minus system screwed me over because there was only once where I got a B plus and then like 3 times where I got A minus. So
what was a B plus in what class?
History. Who cares?
Who cares?
It's general history, not even history.
So your kinesiology undergrad is probably like a 4 something. Nice.
Comes with a scholarship.
Yeah, right? It should.
They should think. Actually, I can't say that because they did.
Oh!
Their grants, like, indirectly, I was getting paid to go to school, which is amazing, Yeah. And I don't know, I wouldn't say I took it for granted, but I really have a lot of respect for so many students who have to work and paid off their tuition. I have so much respect for that. I wouldn't be able to perform as well in my classes if I had so many other things going on like that. But yeah, GPA isn't the only thing. I mean, for me, it's just like it just boosts my ego pretty much.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, it shows that you're a smart guy. You know what you're talking about. But I think a big side of it that I think a lot of people lack is being able to apply the information in a practical setting.
Oh yeah,
that's something that a lot of people don't know how to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's, besides having a high GPA, it's a very
I could have just been really good at taking tests.
Yeah.
No, not the tests you inject, but like exams.
No, but I mean, you're into powerlifting, you're coaching. I mean,
yeah, it's great.
We've done tech watch with you. I mean, you're not one of those.
Yeah, I love. Oh, thanks. I love our major. There's so much applicability in it.
Yeah, that's what I love. We were just talking about this in the previous podcast, how we can come out of a classroom and immediately, as you step out the door, start applying this stuff, which is, I think, why we're all here, why we all love this stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and if people are unsure about Peter, just go to his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he breaks everything down.
Is it okay if we post the link to that YouTube? You don't want people to know.
That's fine.
You sure? Okay, cool. We'll post the link to that YouTube channel so you guys can check it out.
You can see without a shirt on.
Yeah.
Oh god.
3 years ago.
Yeah,
So no, it's an amazing transformation. It really is.
Thanks, man.
It's very inspiring to you. Like, I liked it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're gonna definitely post that up there.
So as far as academics though, I mean, you mentioned about coming back for grad school.
Yeah. I just got accepted in, so I'll be
nice.
back.
Congratulations,
Thanks.
man.
Oh man.
Yeah. No big deal.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna get in.
I'll be coming back. So.
When do you start? The fall?
Yeah, this fall. So, it was a nice semester off.
Yeah, definitely.
And I got to spend more time just thinking
injecting
about
yourself and stuff.
Yeah. just
Cool.
like freaking recovering, man. It took me like 3 weeks for me to start lifting again, and then 2 months to get back to where I should be.
Cool.
With grad school though, I mean, what motivated you to want to even consider applying and then coming back another 2 years?
Was it learning what the side effects of juicing was?
Hey, lay back, dude, lay back. It's not on anything.
Yeah, let's see. Well, honestly, I felt like there was more for me to do. I didn't feel too challenged by the first degree, you know? I mean, just, sorry,
Peter.
Badass over here. But yeah, I felt like there was more for me to do in academics. I posted this on Facebook like a few weeks ago. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I was talking about how there's so much misinformation in this industry. It's so much in health and fitness and performance. There's so much misinformation. Sometimes it's from people who work outside of their scope of practice, which is a problem. And then there might just be a lot of friends you have who have good intentions and want to share with you that advice, but they are not really on the right track. So I just want to take advantage of my platform because I know many people know about me. So I want to take advantage of that platform and share our knowledge and bring this industry in the right direction, move it in the right direction.
Yeah,
so
I agree. So
it doesn't hurt to do research.
Of course, and we were talking about this with the previous podcast. How you take a random kinesiology student and somebody like who's actually put the time and effort to go above and beyond. I mean, you could definitely, it's like two different people because you can't expect to learn it all in a classroom. It's just even, 16 weeks, 15 weeks? You can't expect to know it all. Like I think the professors here, at least in the kinesiology program, do a great job at teaching in very good detail. But there's so much more to that. And that's our job to go out there and really expand on what they've introduced to us. Yeah. And I think it's what sets people apart. But going back to powerlifting, if somebody is interested in powerlifting or just getting stronger, what's a program that you feel has kind of worked best for you or for the athletes that you coach that you would kind of advise somebody to start off with?
That's a good question. Well, there are so many programs out there, but even if I recommend a specific program, like 5x5, or just reading Starting Strength by Mark Ripto, because he explains the lifts in a biomechanical literature, or just something as basic as 531. I would strongly recommend that the person does not just stick to one program, or actually, yeah, that's fine, stick to one program, but more importantly, get better at programming itself. Stop being reliant of jumping on a program or hopping to another one. There are so many program hoppers, and it kind of annoys me, but it makes sense. But yeah, just really understand what programming is, understand what the variables are, the concepts, the principles, and learn how to make your own program specific to your own needs. Not just jump from program to program. Don't follow hype. Oh, Smolov is gonna put this many pounds on your squat. Yeah, it will, but then it's very high frequency, and if you're a beginner, that might not be the best idea, because you might be reinforcing bad form through high frequency. You know, there's just so many things where you should consider. So I would not recommend program hopping. There is no perfect program, but just get better at programming for yourself. Learn about it. You know, coming from strength and conditioning, I would say 2 major areas to study are biomechanics, because there are 2 components to a sport. There is the skill and the ability. So if you're good at biomechanics, you would probably do very well at analyzing and improving your skill. And the second thing is programming, because for abilities, if you want to maximize your abilities, then you would be better at programming. You would know how to train to give yourself those adaptations.
Good. Yeah, it's good that you bring the biomechanics part of it, because I think that's something that people tend to overlook. Yeah, I think if you could take this a million different ways. I mean, if your biomechanics isn't right, or mobility, or you're not performing an exercise correctly, you're just following a typical program. I mean, that's just screaming out for injury, especially if you're doing something like a CrossFit. You know, I'm not saying anything about nothing.
Yeah, another thing,
Kinesiology. I think it's just a lot of people are just jumping into program because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Without understanding,
or like buying a certain shoe or belt.
Exactly, without understanding the biomechanics of how a certain movement should be performed or executed.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for P90X.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it has a place. You know.
No, but you're definitely right.
Yeah, I think for sure. To me personally, I would personally say body mechanics is number 1, and then you go based on everything else. I think if you're body mechanics, the way you set yourself up in any movement, if it's not there, repeated and poor posture, is eventually going to lead to some kind of injury. And guess what? You won't be able to do what you enjoy. You won't be able to do powerlifting or play soccer, football, or CrossFit, whatever it is you like.
Yeah, so that kind of answers your question. What do I recommend? Instead of thinking about programming and all that, just get freaking good at the damn movement itself first, you know?
Exactly.
So,
I agree.
Yeah, let's get better at
It's like get fit before you start to get fit.
What?
You know, like get in shape before you start to get in shape.
Yeah,
you remember that kind of thing?
And I guess that's kind of like general, typical periodization. That's usually how they do it. At least how they do it in the CSCS or in the CSCS textbook. That's how they usually teach it, which is usually conditioning, hypertrophy, strength, speed, power type of thing. That's it. I think that's kind of where you were going at, where you get in shape first and then you do all that.
Yeah.
But
well, you mentioned the CSCS, and I know that's something you're prepping for too.
Yeah.
What are your motives behind doing CSCS? As far as being certified in there, are a lot of powerlifting coaches, athletes, aware of what CSCS or certifications in general?
Honestly, I would say no. Realistically, the best credentials you can have as a powerlifter is your total. People don't really care how many certifications you have and all that, but what really matters is at the end of the day, how much can you lift, you know?
Yeah.
But those who are involved in academia, those who are going to school, going to college, they have an idea of what the NSCA is and what the CSCS exam is. So those like us, CSCS is something that we all know about.
Yeah. Of course.
It's the gold standard.
Yeah, but I think honestly, I'm so surprised.
It's just a nurse certification.
I'm so surprised as to how many people how many people have no idea what a CSCS or NSCA. Like, there's so many people that I came across that have never heard of it. I'm so surprised.
Like within our major? Or?
No, not within our major. Everybody in our major knows what
it is.
Yeah,
that's
if
what
you don't know what it is, where have you been? But no, I'm talking about just the general population. Like, you go to a 24-hour fitness, LA Fitness, you ask some of the trainers there, have never heard of it. You know, even some of the people that are recruiting, I've heard stories of people that are hiring trainers at 24-hour fitness. They're looking for somebody who was certified, right? And they're like, "What do you have?"
Oh wow.
CSCS. Oh, what is that? They don't know what that is. You know, it's like, really?
As long as you have something to kind of cover our asses.
Yeah, that's
good.
all they really care about. Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll tell you what YouTube channels bro science channels they follow.
So see, the CSCS, even though it's considered kind of like the gold standard certification, that doesn't guarantee that person knows.
Exactly.
Oh, of course not. And that goes back to what we were saying. Yeah. It's knowing the material, having that 4.0 GPA versus being able to apply in a practical setting.
You can just study and take the exam, do one, and get certified.
Yeah, but do you actually have practical experience? Because what the book says, I guarantee, is not going to apply to 90% of the people you work with. It's not. It's so different. And if you don't have that practical experience, you won't never know until you actually get out there and apply it.
Yeah, the book can't explain what it feels like to grind out like 400 pounds.
Exactly. I wouldn't know what that means either. That's something,
what it means like having weight crushed down on your chest.
Yeah, exactly. You won't know until you actually do it. So people lack a lot.
Nice. Well, let's kind of bring it back down to what your goals are with Iron Empire. It seems to be like something that's going to blow up pretty soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you. Well, we plan on making the facility.
You already have one. It's your backyard. It's pretty
much
all set up, right?
It's just an unofficial one.
I gotta ask you, are your parents cool with that? Like, having like a whole backyard.
Yeah, kind of, but then the deadlifts do bother the neighbors, which I feel bad about.
Oh, because you're slamming weights.
Yeah, dude.
So walk us through your whole setup. What do you have?
Yeah, let's see. We have one main squat cage and about two other squat racks. We have 2 benches. I have a Texas power bar, which is like the standard powerlifting bar. We have a Texas deadlift bar, which like rips your skin when you deadlift, but it's legit. And we have
just
a bunch
for,
of plates.
For example, just for the purposes for grip, or
the knurling is a little bit more sharp and it really helps with the grip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's wrap it up here. So if somebody wants to find you, where can we find you?
Well, you can add me on MySpace. Just search up Peter Pham.
Really? MySpace?
Oh wait, no, dude. Facebook.
I wanted to see how far he was gonna go with that.
Oh wow! So can't believe I said that.
Zynga. Oh my god, dude.
Hit me up on hey.
Right? Dial-up.
Neopets.
All right, so
battle my Neopets.
Okay, so www.myspace
Facebook. Just search my name, Peter Pham. Peter Pham, or you can find me on Instagram. Also, Peter Pham PL. The PL stands for powerlifting. Nice. If you would like to follow my team, that would be Iron Empire. Pretty much spelled the way it should be. Yeah, we might be posting more videos on YouTube, but I'm kind of laying low on what I post for now.
Yeah. I think the latest picture on Iron Empire was of your concussion, if I'm correct.
Oh no, it's
that was on your maybe on yours. I don't know.
No.
But okay, so we can find you on Instagram and Facebook at Peter Pham for Facebook, or Peter Pham PL on Instagram,
and then we'll post it up or something.
Yeah, we'll post it up. We'll tag you.
And then next semester they'll find him on campus too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You'll be here in the fall. Actually, in a few months, like 4 months, 3 months.
Nice.
Great. Cool. Anything else you wanna give a shout out to somebody or anything else you wanna?
Any sponsors that you have listening to this right now?
Sponsors. Well, first I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to be on here and sharing.
Thank you for coming, Peter.
My stuff. Yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah, definitely.
Please invite me.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you in a future episode. So, with that being said, I think we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Call it wrap. Thank you guys for listening.